Okay, thank you very much. Please, someone is asking on the Discord channel for link. Please, can you someone share the link, please? Thank you very much for another class. So sorry for the delay. I had like an incident where I needed to fix something real quick, so I needed yeah. So introduction to Linux. Linux is one of the most important operating systems that we'll get to know as a DevOps engineer, and it will form the foundation for every single thing that we will do in this class moving forward. You get so it's very important that we know this. It's very important that we don't really need to know deep, but it's very important that we have some somewhat fundamental understanding of the Linux environment. You get um yeah, so let's go straight into the point without wasting much time. So like I said, what is Linux? Linux is Linux is a powerful and widely used operating system, particularly in server environments. Understanding Linux basics is and networking fundamentals is essential for developers, DevOps engineers, and system administrators. Now, if you look at this, one thing with Linux is it has a lot of version that you can work with. You know, there is the PC Linux OS, there is the Debian, there is the Mandriva. All these ones are just different flavors. You get but the one that is most commonly used is Ubuntu, which is this one right here, and Fedora. Ubuntu, Fedora, Red Hat. So those are the ones that commonly used. Well, all these are different flavors of Linux. They call it flavors, You know what flavors? You know what the meaning of flavors? So yeah, Linux. Next one is now there's a Linux file structure. Unlike um the Windows that we're just used to GUI, like in terms of yeah, you have the GUI option, but fundamentally Linux has what is called the file structure. Now this particular slash here is this particular slash here is the root directory. Now in this root directory is where like it's like the base of everything that it's like your desktop on your Windows. You get it's like where you have your desktop on your Windows computer. Then there's the user directory, there's the etc, there's the var, like I said, there's the user directory which is the home for users. Then there's etc that stores configuration files. So all configuration files that like your app, like your packages and everywhere, they're stored in this etc. Then there's the var, not the var in football though, but this is the var that stores the logs and variable data. That stores the logs and variable data. Then there's the bin, essential binaries. That's essential binaries for the packages, binaries for the packages that you want to install. Then user installed applications. When you install applications by yourself, like you you use the command to install applications, they store them here. Optional software packages, device files, and then kernel and process information. So all these are fundamental. So when you're working with the Linux environment in production, when you're probably asked to probably install a package or rest, you'd have a better understanding of where these packages are because when you want to install, you'll be part of the configuration will send will send them to bin, will send them to USR, You send them to off for the ones that are just like, you don't want to do something serious with them. There are some packages that you will build, or rather that are available, are just for like quick tests and stuff. Most of them are stored in the opt directory. So let's flip it to like Windows, yeah. So in a Windows environment, you will definitely see all those. You see if you go to my computer and you go to this PC, yeah, you will see all those setups that are there. I don't really have them offhand. So this is just like the equivalent for the Linux environment. Yeah. So there are top 50 commands that you must know in a Linux environment. There's the ls, there's the so the ls now is basically to change directory. So if you want to, sorry, I said change directory. ls is to list. So the list, if you want to like list a particular, or rather to show the amount of directories to show the amount of files that enter a directory. Now, when I use the word directory is directory is like a um directory is like a folder, basically. When you won't use the word folder, you use like directory. Then there is a PWD. PWD means present working directory. So if you want to find out the present working directory of your particular device, or where you are currently in the setup, you use the PWD. Then there's the CD, which is the change directory. So if I want to move from one particular, I'm just giving you like an overground. We'll still touch on it within the class. If you want to change to a particular directory, you use the CD. Then there is the make directory. So yeah, now there's the MV. So the MV is to move. So if you want to like move a file from one particular directory to another, want to move a file from a particular directory to another, you use the MV. Then there's the CP. If you want to copy, now there's most people do not understand the differences, Most people don't understand the differences. The move is basically I'm moving, like I'm transferring you from directory A to directory B. That is for move. CP is to copy. So I'm transferring you from directory A to directory B, but you are still in directory A. So it's just basically like, I don't know how to put it, but those of you that use Windows, it's pretty self-explanatory. Then there's the RM. RM is to remove. Be very careful about RM, because you don't apply RM, you don't easily apply RM in, except it's very, very important. So yeah, there's a touch. There is the touch to create a new directory, to create a new file. So touch is to create a new file. Then there's the in. There's a line command. Sorry, I said line in LN. Then there's the clear. So clear is like if you're writing multiple lines of code in um writing multiple lines of CLI commands. If you want to now like clear it, so that your CLI will be like free, you use the clear command. There's the cat. Cat is to list the content of a file without opening the file. So you don't want to open the file directly, you list it, use the cat command. Then there's the echo. There's the echo. Echo is to, it's like, um, you have saved a particular, you saved a particular variable, to list that variable. Then there's a less. Less is what is less again? Sef? Yeah, the rest is to show, because just like what you see, show less results basically when you list like a cat command. Then there's a man is like manual. So if I want to know more about a particular command, you use the man command. Then there's the uname is like the username to find out the user that is currently on that server. Then there's the who am I is a who am I is a command to know the, like you say, the same thing, the user that is, using that particular server. Then there's the tar. The tar is like a command if you want to compress or if you want to compress or the way we do zip file, yeah. So you use the tar command to either compress or extract it. If there's a grep, if you want to find a particular name. So if you're filtering through a lot of the files for a particular name inside the file, let's say you want to go through 10 files and you want to find um 5 files that have Linux inside. You use the grep command. You then there's a head. Head is to if you're going through a lot of directories, you can set head to give you the first 5. Tail the same thing. You can set tail to give you the last 5. So there are a lot. So yeah, there's a diff, there's CMP, the com, the sort, the export. Export is one you want to move a variable to, if you want to like set a variable basically. Yeah. Then zip, same thing to compress if you want to use star. This one is zip is like a package that you install. It's not something that zip is a package that you install. It's not something that you it's not something that comes with the system. I don't know if modern Linux environment comes with zip, but you install it on zip, the same thing to extract the file. So if you have a compressed file, use on zip. There's SSH to secure shell to use for access, for access into servers. Then there is the service. There's the PS, which is to check the processes that are running in the server. There is the kill and kill, or if you want to kill some certain processes that are running, we'll go into that when we go deep into networking and stuff. There's the DF, there's the mount, there's change mode, which is to change permissions to a particular file. There's the CHO, which is to change the ownership of the particular file. So yeah, there are lots. wget, firewall, UFW, IP tables. There's the apt for package management. There's the sudo for what they call sudo. They do sudo again. Sudo is
Is super user do.
yeah, super user do. Yes, thank you. Sudo is super user do. There is the alias. Top is to check the processes that are running, like to check your memory, your CPU, and the rest. So yeah, and then user add is if if you want to like add you want to add a particular user, or you want to, yeah, then password if you want to change the password basically. So yeah, I just ran through the top 50 commands that you must know. So this is like a fundamental, and this is what we're going to like dwell on for for this introduction to Linux and the rest. So the Linux, like I said, who am I to show current user, um sudo password new user, then user del to delete the user, group add new group, sudo user mod dash a group to add user to a group. So yeah, these ones are just commands basically. When you watch the video, you can pause it and then practice basically. Then there are file permissions. Now this file permission It's also another very, very sensitive stuff. Very sensitive because now you'll be given a file. You want a situation where it's not everybody that can handle the file. It's not it's not every user in your setup, in your server that should be able to have access to the file. Now there are three sets. You can see arrow WX, RWX, RWX. This first RWX is for the user. So this setup is for the user. This setup is for the group, and this setup is for the owner. So from the dash, you can see there, the dash signifies, when you see dash, it means that it's a file. Sometimes you will see D, which shows that it's a folder. So be very careful when you're observing this environment, some environment, and you want to check the permissions. You will see dash to show that it's a file. Then you will see D if it shows the directory. Then you will see arrow WX, RWX, RWX. Sometimes you will see that sorry, I'm having some headache. Sometimes you see that it will be dash, 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 or most times you see that it will be arrow dash, dash, arrow dash, dash, arrow dash, dash. So what it simply means is that the user can read but cannot write and cannot execute. So X is execute. Same thing, the group arrow dash dash arrow dash dash. You see the user cannot, the group rather can read, can not write and cannot execute. Then others is like for file owner basically. Then file owner can read, can write, and cannot write rather, and then cannot execute. So now there's a setup that I use to understand this thing. There is, I don't know how they explain it, but there is four. Four is for read, two is for write, and then one is for execute. Let me repeat that again. Two is for read. Sorry, four is for read, two is for write, and then one is for execute. So if you want to set this your permission, let's say for the first one, the file owner, if you want to set this your permission that the file owner can read, write, and execute, you do 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 7, which is why you're having 7 here. You get. So let's just say, yeah, 4 plus 2 plus 1. That's how I understand it. 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 7. So the file owner can read, can write, can execute. If you want the file owner to only read and execute, you do 4 plus 1, which is 5. Same thing, if you want the group owner rather to only read and execute, or rather any of them in the hierarchy, you do 4 plus 1. If you wanted to read and write, you do 4 plus 2, which is 6. So this permission now, from this that I'm showing you here, you can see that the file owner can, the file owner can read, write, and execute. But the group and other users can only read and execute. They cannot write, which is 5, 5. So I don't know if you'd want me to take that again for better understanding.
Yes, sir. Take it again.
So for Linux file permissions, there is 4. I don't know why I didn't even write it here. There is a 4. 4 is for read. That's FOUR. 4 is for read. 2, TWO, is for write. And then 1 is for execute. So when you are setting file permissions, you should understand that 4 is for. So if you want a user in your head, if you want a user, your user, which is the file owner, to have read, write, and execution permissions, you do 4, 2 plus 1, which is 7. 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. So you make it 7. Now, this change mode is like to change the file permission. So it's like you're writing a command, change mode 755. Then you write the file that you want to, change mode. So, now 5, on the other hand, is read and execute. It's 4 plus 1. So just have it in your head that, just keep it in your head that read is 4, write is 2, execute is 1. Yeah, so there's some background mathematics around that, but I don't have it in my head. You can probably go and research on it, but yeah, that's just what it is. So 755 is for read. So the file owner can read, write, and execute. 5 is 4 plus 1. The file owner can only read and execute. You cannot write. That means you cannot write anything to the file. Then your access denied. Then same thing to other users can only read and execute. Sometimes if you want to make it so strict, you do 700, which is 700, which is only you can read, write, and execute. Or you can do 744, which is only you can read, write, and execute. The group owner can only read. The others can only read. So yeah, we'll play around that. We'll play around that while we move forward. The next thing, process management. Now, process management is basically like, it's basically like going through, what is currently running in the computer. You know how in your Windows you have task manager. So PSAUX is like the task manager of the Linux environment. So you can check, what is currently running. You can remove it if it's too cumbersome, or if it's causing some memory issues, you can remove it. Same thing with now all the processes, each process that is currently runs on a computer each process has a process ID. So sometimes you just want to eliminate that particular process that is running. You do a kill. So you do a kill command and you kill the particular process. There's a top. So top is like, it's like instrumentation basically to view what's running your server. So when you run top, you would see, when you run the top command, you will see what's currently running, your memory utilization, your CPU utilization, the amount of space that's left, the load time average. Load time average is how long it takes to load, the time the server has been up. So if your server has been up for 5 days, to show the time 5 days, those kind of stuff, those kind of setup. Sometimes those kind of things can also be useful in debugging. Then network commands, IP-A, ping google.com. So ping is to check to test network connectivity. Who is trying to operate my screen, please? I beg. To test network connectivity. Net start is to show listening port, and curl is to fetch headers in a particular environment. Basically the same thing. So core networking and DevOps specific network terms. Now, these are so yeah, before we go into this, let's just do hands-on, because that's what I plan to do for this class. So stop sharing. Yeah. Does anybody have any question? Someone said I'm not audible. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Please, someone said
Yeah, we
I'm not
can hear you,
audible.
sir.
So the network is breaking.
Network is breaking.
Yeah.
Ah. All right, so let's do this.
Please, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so for those of us that are using Windows, how are we going to do for the
Okay,
commands?
so there are two things. First things first, someone dropped something on the group that someone dropped something on the group to install what they call it, WXL. So you can use that one because you're just what you're basically doing is to learn the commands. You're not like going into any deep Linux stuff. It's to learn the commands, learn how to be familiar with the commands. You get so that's what we're doing basically. Um so yeah, then you can also download Vagrant. So the Vagrant is what I use. So I already run a Linux server on my laptop, so I don't really need to run WSL and the rest. But Vagrant is important for running test development. So with Vagrant, you can spin up like a small test server that will collect memory from your laptop memory, and you can use it. So what I would advise you to do, install WXL on your laptop, but to be safe, to be on the safe side, you can also install Vagrant because Vagrant will create an isolated server. So if, for example, now if you're running something like WXL, if you click on commands like RM,
To
it will
you again, I
affect.
can't hear you. I didn't get that, sir.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I didn't hear you again. I think the
Please,
last
can
statement
anybody
I
confirm that they can hear me? Let me know what I'm
Sir, it's
doing.
his network. It's his network,
Please,
sir.
can you
We
fix
can
your
hear you very
network?
well.
Thank you.
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you very well.
Okay, so like I was saying, you download so Vagrant is what I use currently. So I will avoid, running commands on my main computer, except when I'm, set for serious work. So with Vagrant, when you install Vagrant on your laptop, you do what they call Vagrant init. So Vagrant init, creates like, an initialized environment. You now choose the server. Don't bother about all these commands now when you are learning and when this is focal 64. Now, for Ubuntu has different versions. There's the Ubuntu 20, Ubuntu 22. I don't know, they make the versions two steps higher. They make each of the versions two steps higher. I don't know why. It's just like Windows, that from Windows 10 they move to Windows 10 they move to Windows, what they call it, Windows 11 and 11. But this one they make it two steps higher. So from 14 they move to 16, 16 they move to 18, 18 they move to 20, 20 they move so the latest one now is 24. But we're currently for stability, I'm currently running Focal, which is Jammy. So I'm only running Jammy, which is Ubuntu 22. They're all labeled what they, I don't know, this their labeling is to tire me. But you can just find out. Then for 18, they use Bionic, but Bionic is from 20 down is a bit outdated. There are no supports for packages from 20 down as much. So you got to anything you're using, you have to use from 22. 22 is the most stable, 24 is the latest. So I've currently run it already. So you do Ubuntu 60, Ubuntu Jammy. Jammy is the name they call um Ubuntu 20, version 22. So you will see a Vagrant file here. Now the Vagrant file shows you everything that you would need for your setup, which is this. You can see it's jamming. All these ones are commented because they are not used. It's like they are all commented. Then once you are done with this, once you have run the init and the Vagrant file is created, you do Vagrant up. The Vagrant up is to turn on the server. It's basically like when you say turn on the server. So yeah. So bringing machine default up. So this one is just telling me that Vagrant broke my version is not. I had this version for a long while because of I used to run a lot of test environments, so that's why it's giving me the error. But right now it's setting up, it's booting. You can see just so all the setup now is within my computer. So let's just wait while it's coming up. So does anyone have any question?
Okay, sir, let me get it straight. For you to do this vagrant in it, are we creating
Must
a
install.
different?
No, you can
Yeah,
do
I
it on
have.
your computer, on your Windows. You can do it on your computer.
Yes, I have vagrant on my laptop already. So
Yeah.
going into, can I use command prompt on Windows, or it's just basically on VS Code that we
You
can
can
do
even
this?
use command prompts. No, the reason why I'm using VS Code is because of my terminal is embedded in my VS Code. You can use your, what they call it, PowerShell. You can use Git Bash.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's doing this. I think it's an internet issue. So
So can you use the vagrants on Ubuntu?
that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I've already set it up before. Sometimes internet can misbehave. So yeah, this is it. You can see, welcome to Ubuntu 22. So this Ubuntu 22, this LTS simply means long-term. This LTS simply means long-term support. This LTS simply means long-term support. So when you see Ubuntu 20 LTS long-term support, it's telling you about the server document. So this is like a default setup that you will see whenever you launch any instance, any Ubuntu instance. There are different ones for the different flavors. You see system information as of Tuesday. Kinikin is giving you time in UTC 905. System load. The usage is 40 gig. Users logged in 0. Yeah, so WAP usage, expanded security maintenance of applications is not enabled. So yeah, I can see now to do the first of all, you clear the command. Now see, we are in our server, brand new, like this is like a very fresh test server. So the next thing you do is sudo, let's just say ls. There's actually there's nothing inside the server, so you won't see anything. But ls is to list basically. So let's go back and be viewing the commands, the ones that we can do so far. Okay, there's a pwd. Now this pwd, this pwd, present working directory, means that where you're currently working in is home.vagrant. Now vagrant is your user. Vagrant is like a user for this setup. So since it's like a test server, by default your user is vagrant. But in a production server, you can add users. You can, when your server is created for you, you'll be created with your own user. It's like your profile. You get, well, for this one, it's vagrant. Then there is the, I don't have this thing on hand. There is the CD, MKDR, MV, and the rest. So CD is to change. So now let us create a new directory. Let's create MKDR KodeCamp 1, which is what you call a new folder. So now if you do ls, you will see that there's a folder here, KodeCamp 1. Now let's create a new file this time. Touch KodeCamp, which is a new file. So there's a difference between a file and a folder. So now if you do ls again to a list, you will see now, you see the color difference to show you. That's the reason why a lot of people are not patient with Linux, because a lot of commands that you need to know fundamentally to operate it, unlike Windows. In as much as, yeah, Linux also offers the GUI version, but there's some servers that don't have GUI, which is the graphical user interface. So you have to learn the command line, unlike Windows that, you can easily click, right click, create a folder and the rest. You can see the color difference. This is KodeCamp 1. This is a directory, this is a folder. Now, if I want to enter inside this directory, I'll see the KodeCamp. Now you can see that it has entered /KodeCamp, meaning that I'm inside this folder. If I ls, you see that there's nothing inside, meaning that I'm inside the folder. Now, if I want to go back, which is go back to my setup, I do cd dot dot. This dot dot now, by default, in Linux command, dot is you are trying to identify where you are currently. So if I do, so that's dot. So when I say dot dot, it's like taking a step back, one step back, you get. But that's just how it is, just one step back. So when I say cd dot dot, please, can somebody, the mic is on, please unmute your mic. Thank you. I mean, I said unmute. Please mute your mic. Sorry. Thank you. So cd dot dot is one step back. So you have gone back to, you can check how the setup is. I've gone back to where we started. We're going back to where we started. Now, let's say we want to cd again into KodeCamp. Well, now, to be fast, if you type code and you want to complete it, you can just press your tab and to complete. But if there are more than one, the directory with the same type of name, you then know how to, press it. So now I say cd KodeCamp. If I do cd KodeCamp, yeah. Now I want to create another directory inside here again. Let's say KodeCamp 2. I can now cd into KodeCamp 2. Now you can see
can I
this
ask a
is,
question?
yeah.
Okay, sorry. I actually understand something. I understand what you're doing, to do. The question I have, because I was not here on the stage class, is this Ubuntu you're talking about, is it an app or that I can download on my system?
It's not an app. It's an operating system, just like Windows. The same way you have Windows
Okay.
11, the same way you have Ubuntu 22. So the reason why I'm using
Okay.
this is because I created like a test server. So you can use Vagrant to create like a test server on your laptop that you can use to practice. But Vagrant is not useful in production environments. So in terms, you want to play around the Linux command like we're doing, you use Vagrant. You get me?
Okay. This program, is it like an app, like for example, Notepad, is it like that?
You download it now, you install it on your laptop. If you're using Windows, you install it, a normal exe file. Then when you
Okay,
do
thank
it,
you, sir.
you have to ensure that you have enough space, so that to get from your memory, to get from your CPU and your memory to create the server. It's most likely sometimes 40 gig to use by default.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Please, let's direct all the questions till after I'm done. Thank you. So now the next one now while we're here, if we want to go back, we'll do cd dot dot. We'll do cd dot dot. Now see, you can see now I've gone back one step, which is this, which is backward here. Do again cd dot dot. We've gone back to our present working directory, to our working directory. Now let's go back to KodeCamp 2. If sometimes you may be in a hurry and you just want to jump, you can do cd /. see this dash dash slash dash dash. If I say dash dash dot dot slash dot dot, you're going straight over here. Now, just like what I mentioned, clear. You can see now you can write a lot of commands and it will fill your screen. Sometimes I had in my VS Code I can adjust it, but sometimes if you're using normal terminal, you can just clear and to restart to restart to terminal. So now we have KodeCamp. We have KodeCamp. We have KodeCamp 1. You do if you want to. If you now want a situation where you want to write, let's say you want to write on this, you want to write on this, you do VI. So there are two text editors on the Linux environment, same way you have your WordPad. So the reason why I'm trying to change this thing because Windows is more graphical, so you can easily just click things and open, but Linux is more CLI based. So the same way you have your notepad on Windows, same way you have your VI or VIM, depend on your operating system. VI or VIM or Nano. I prefer using VI. Most people prefer using Nano. Like the last DevOps class we had, there was a confusion because my code teacher was teaching with Nano. I was teaching with VI. So the students were confused. But I prefer using, personally, I prefer using VI because it's convenient for me. Then for VI, you do, let's okay, let's first of all create a folder called Touch. Touch is to create a file. KodeCamp.txt. I'm sure when people that use Notepad, you know that Notepad says their this things in docs.txt a lot. So touch.txt. Then if you want to now edit on it, you see vi code dot KodeCamp.txt. CVI to open a new environment for you. Now, once you open a new environment, this is how it looks. It's just very plain. Now, you cannot just start writing on it. It's not possible. You click on I. I is to enter insert mode. So when you click on I, you see insert under here. See insert, then you start writing whatever you want to write. Just the way you have your notepad. This is the blend plus hope you enjoy your stay here. Now, when you set mode, you have to also go out of insert mode, which is escape. Now, once you're out of insert mode, anything you press, it will not work, except the command, like the useful commands to exit. Now, if you want to exit, you click on the forward. Thank God this thing is recording because sometimes it can be too much information. You click on what they call it, colon, not semicolon, colon. You can see the down part of my screen, colon. You now do WQA apostrophe. W means right. QA apostrophe means like, it's like where you have save, basically. You get save and quit. That's basically the command. So WQA, save and exit. So once you do if you do only QA, I don't want to do it, but if you do only QA, if I leave this screen and come back, but let me just do it. If I leave this screen and come back, my work is not saved. Basic. So I have to start writing what I rewrote again. I enter insert mode. I do the same thing. Welcome to KodeCamp. Hope you enjoy. And now leave set insert mode. I do WQ if so this is save and exit. If I go back again, you can see that my work is still there. So this command is very, very useful when you want to write script, because there are sometimes when probably you're working on a server and then they'll ask you, oh, write a script to automate this particular thing, and you cannot, you are in a Linux environment, you are inside a Linux server. You don't have any notepad or anything. I know that there are some newer tools that, you can install, I don't know how they do it, but this is like a traditional way we do it. You just use VI, and then you write your scripts. You can basically write anything. The only downside of all these text editors on the Linux command is that you cannot format. So you don't if you're writing like a script or writing something that has to do with what they call it, has to do with indentation, you will struggle a lot because you have to get the right indentation. Unlike text editors like VS Code and the rest, that your indentation needs to be perfect. You get it to help you to align your indentation very well. So the next one now we do ls. Now the next one we'll do ls-l. Now based on what I thought earlier, you will see please unmute, please mute your mic. Your mic is on, please mute your mic. Thank you. You can see these commands. This is the dash to show that it's a file. Dash. Then this is the D to show that it's a directory. Now, look at this directory. You will see the owner of the directory can read, write, and execute. Read, write, and execute. And then the other members can only read and execute. They cannot write. There is the owner, and there's the group, basically. So this is the owner of the file, this is the group. But since it's a Vagrant file, it's not really just Vagrant. Everything is Vagrant because test. Then this is the time the file was created, and then this is the name basically. So now let's change this directory to the group can only read. That's what we'll do. Chmod. We'll do chmod. We'll do chmod. Then 7.4 KodeCamp 1. You can see 7 is that. See the 7, this 7 here covers this first 3 after D. 4 covers this next 3, which is the group. So this first 3 is the user, which is you that has the file. This next 3 is the group that, if you're working in a group that the file belongs to. Then this next 3, the last 3 is the others. That means other users that have access to this server. So 7 is 4 plus what? 2 plus 1, which is read, write, and execute. 4 is read. 4 again is read. So if I press enter and then do ls-l again to view it, you will see that it has changed from the ROWX now is RAM is dash dash. That means the user can no longer read the user can no longer read the file, and the user again can no longer execute. That's the user. The group can no longer read the file, and then the other people can no longer execute. That's how sensitive the P is. That's how sensitive this whole stuff is. So
Hello, sorry to cut you short.
okay.
Sorry, do you mean the user cannot, because you say 4 is read?
No, 4 is read. I said the user, I mean the group. The group can read but cannot write and execute. Don't know if I made a mistake.
You said, yeah, you made a mistake. So
yeah, sorry. Then other people are connected to the server. So let's assume you're working in the server with 10 people and you create a file. Once you set this permission, other 9 people cannot read, cannot write and execute to that file. They can only read it. You understand? So that's what this whole setup is. If I now want to be liberal and allow all of them, I do chmod 777 KodeCamp 1, which is that directory. If I do ls-l, you can see now it's practically open, like everybody can read it. It's practically like a public file now. You get. Same thing you can do for other files. ls .txt. No such file. KodeCamp, sorry, .txt. The ls-l. Same thing. It's all public. Now, if I want to be very, very strict, the same thing. ls-l clear. So this is the point where you clear. You do chmod 700. Now, even if I want to even remove myself from reading the file, I can do 400. So 400 is for very, very sensitive files that even yourself you don't want to write to it. Like if you have all these pass keys or something that they are giving you, you don't want anybody, including yourself, to write on it. You will see 400. Now that I've clicked on 400, if I do ls-l, you can see that it's only arrow here. The rest is dark, is blank. So if I try to KodeCamp.txt, if I vi into it now, and I do insert mode, you can see it has given me a warning, changing a read-only file. So if I add anything here, I cannot escape. So I just need to quit, basically. See, I need to override, basically. So that's how to like protect the integrity of the files that are embedded in your system, embedded in your server. So is there any question before I move forward? The Linux part is almost done, basically. So that I'll prepare, so next week, next week on Friday, we'll go into networking. I'll take my time and, get that one done. I want to understand Linux before we go deep into networking, because it doesn't make sense if we know Linux, we know networking, and we don't know anything in Linux. So is there any question, please?
Yes, I want to ask
Okay.
if a repository is forked, it doesn't require permission, right?
I don't understand that question. Can you rephrase?
For example, in a group, I fork a repository. I want to create a branch in the repository. I want to make some edit and create some stuff on the branch through my Ubuntu. Do I need? I don't think I'll need permission from the
If you
owner
want
of
to
the
make a
repository.
branch. If the
Yeah,
branch is
from the
if the branch is a public repository, you don't need permission now, basically. You can just fork it and it will come to your own branch and then you clone.
okay. Then what if I want to pull request after I must have
When you push,
done?
once you push, the owner of once you push, you will see a button on the GitHub say create pull request. Once you create pull request, you notify the owner of the repository that somebody wants to pull request to the server. And then they will view what you are pulling request, if the code makes sense, or if you change your implementing makes sense. Then they will merge it into the main code, and then your code will be part of that's what people basically call contributing to open source. That's
That's what I'm actually doing. We have a group amongst us here. We are doing stuff like that. And I needed permission for this because when I tried to pull it, it was
You have to
asking me to
contact
put.
the repo owner now.
Let me just finish. I was trying to pull this thing, and it said I should put password for file that has HTTP. As in, I said password is no longer used for files that has
Okay,
HTTP.
now
But
can you watch the last
I need
video?
to.
Watch the last video. If I did a personal access token, that's what you use for password instead. You no longer use.
That's what I was trying to tell the person, but it didn't actually give me. It's supposed to generate
You
a
have to do
token.
it. No, it's you. It's you. I can't explain that in this class. Probably we'll find time during the week to explain that.
No,
Because
sir, you
that's
have
last
just
I
week.
done
can't
that
tell
now.
you
Sir, you have
thing.
just done that. He's supposed to generate the token and not the
Uh-huh.
other person.
Yeah, you're supposed to generate the token yourself from your GitHub account.
I did generate token and tried and put it as password, but it wasn't work. It's not. It says that I need permission or something like that from the group owner, as in the person that created the repository.
Who created the repository?
It's one of us
Is
in
there
the
an
group.
open? Is there an? We'll have to look at that after the class, please. This is not a Git class, basically. We'll look at that, please. So let's move forward. We'll look at that probably after the class on Discord.
Okay.
So does anyone have any other question? So now nobody's answering me. Please, it's not tomorrow, it's not next class now. You come and ask me,
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, to be honest, sometimes when you are not actually flowing very well, to ask questions will be difficult, sir.
Okay, probably when you watch
Correct.
the video now.
But like, sir, this WXL now, I tried installing from my end. I've tried downloading it and it's showing me here. But when I go to search, run the command prompt to check the status, it's saying that it's not recognized. Meanwhile, it's here in my system.
You say you're running WSL.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
But when you go to the command prompt to check the status, like you type WXL dash dash status, press the enter, it's telling me that it's not recognized or something. So I just stopped there. I wasn't able to head to downloading of the Ubuntu.
Don't worry, after the class, that one will be something that we can address on Discord.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So, yeah. Any more question? Okay, well, let's move forward then. We're almost done with the basics. We're almost done with the basics. So, oh boy. So let's look at other I've addressed most of them here. So, cat. Okay, yeah. So let's look at that cat. Now, we have, instead of just always opening this one to view what's inside, you can use a cat command, just cat. So yeah, if you are working on sensitive, so if you're working on sensitive project that you don't just want to open it like that, you can just cat. Now this one does not really, this one does not really need any form of permission. You can just view. It's just like view, put your eye and remove your eye, basically. It's not something like you need like an extra permission, that you cannot view or something. You can just view and move your eye. So that's what the cat command does. Now, for commands where you want to, save variables that you want to use, you use stuff like export, let's just say, name, okay. So echo, echo dollars and name. So yeah, if you want to save, there are some situations where you want to like save, let's just say you have a script that you want to constantly repeat a particular variable throughout the script, or rather you want to repeat the particular variable on your CLI. You yeah, you can save it, and in the export, sorry if I'm being distracted. I'm being called within someone. So back to this. So you can save it as a variable. So let's just use the variable name. For example, now you're trying to build a script. You're trying to build like a script where you're going to repeat the variable. You're trying to repeat the variable name. So instead of you to just use Ezekiel throughout, you can just save the variable as a name, and then you can call it out in. Now, export saves a variable. You get when you want to now view that particular variable, you use the $ name, and to show you what was saved. It will show you what was saved inside there. It will show you what was saved as that variable. Let's do it again. Let's do this again. Let's do this. Let's do exports. Let's say age equals to 10. So echo age 10. Now you can see you can see now let's get a fundamental difference. Let's get a fundamental difference to this. Now you can see that for name, when you're trying to export or save text variables, you will see it has an, I don't know what they call this thing, quotation mark, I think that's what they call it. So this is what is used for those that are, developers, that this is how you save text, basically. How you save text. So you want to save a text inside this, you want to save it to export it. put inside backticks. But for age, it's not for numbers, that is for integers, is not the same. So when you're saving numbers, you don't use this. This is what makes this the export to know that you're saving a text and then you're saving a number. So when we start doing shell scripting, you understand the importance of this whole setup, basically. Yeah. So who am I? Who am I? Then there's man. So let's go. Who am I? So who am I shows the user that is, who am I shows the user that is present in this, that's currently working on this. You can still see it here with this vagrant because the reason why you are seeing vagrant because it's a vagrant server. But in some production servers, if your name is like my name is Ezekiel now, you definitely see Ezekiel you see the IP address of the server. If you do a who am I, you see my name here or something. That's the user of the server, basically. Then the man command, if you want to, man is like manual. So if you want to check out particular command, you can run the man command and it will show you everything concerning that particular command, what it does, who wrote it, blah, blah, blah. So I did the man. This is also very helpful if you want to understand more about certain commands. I did the man command, who am I? So it shows you it's a print effective, this prints the username associated. So it's like a manual basically to show you any command you want to view. Let's try and that one, man.apt. Show you these are this. So you can use this to basically just read through different commands. It will also show you some extra commands that you can run at the end to fulfill that CLI command. So let's clear this. Now, let's go to package management, which before we close. There are times when you want to install a particular package on your Ubuntu server to probably you want to run something, basically. Ubuntu basically has two very popular package management servers, apt, which is apt, and snap. But snap is rarely used. Snap is like, for, I don't know what they hardly use it, but most packages are in apt. So it's like, I don't know how to put it. It's like Play Store, basically, for those that use Android, Play Store and App Store for iOS, where you can go and, get any package that can run on a server. When you want to download a new app on your phone, the first thing you do is want to run a new app on your phone. The first thing you do is to go and check it on Play Store. So apt is like the Play Store. Let me use that analogy. It's like the Play Store of the Ubuntu server. So let's say we want to download the Nginx package. Like we're not going deep into Nginx, just want to install it, for example. You do apt install Nginx. Now, one thing you should know personally, that using the apt command is a privileged setup. So it's not something that any user can do. You have to have like administrative access to be able to do that. And by default, Vagrant user has administrative access. But you can be in a situation where you are not giving your administrator will have to give, or you can be the administrator that will have to give someone administrative access. What you do is to add the person to a user group, which is sudo user mod AG, which is to add the person to the group. And then this is let's say your name is Vagrant, and then you want to add the person to the sudo group. I will not run this command because this is the Vagrant server. But yeah, so this is basically the command if you want to add a user to a group. So most times if you are working on high level system administration, your system administrator or you, most especially, will be tasked to add somebody to a sudo group so they can perform privileged command, because there are some commands that you want to run, they'll tell you decline, you don't have access, you don't have permissions to do it. You add them to the user group. Now, let's get back to it. Now, let's assume that we have created that privileged command. You now do sudo apt install, and then you type the name of the command nginx. So this installs the nginx. So this is like basically that installing or downloading stuff on your Play Store basically. And when you run it, to find the package, you go to the package repository or package library and look for it. And that's, do you want to continue? First of all, give you everything that will be required. It will need to get 600 and kini, all this setup. Do you want to continue? You click, press Y for yes, then to start doing its thing. This is why, no, if you notice, you watch some movies, you see this black screen and all these white things going on. People will be saying, oh, they're trying to hack some national database. Most times it's just Ubuntu commands that they are running like this that will just, that kind of stuff. That's by the way though. So you can see the whole thing is just running. Then next thing is saying setting up Nginx, processing triggers, scanning Linux images. It's just, going through that whole setup. Now it has set up, basically. So yeah, that's basically what package management. You'll be required to install some certain packages. There are a lot of packages. We don't really want to go into that. You can do that on your own. There are a lot of packages that you can look through. You can download on your server. You can use and play around services and the rest. Before we go into networking next week, we'll still touch on some other setups. Then we'll go into networking proper. Yeah. Is there any question? So yeah, that's it for this class, basically. This is like an introduction to Linux. We've touched on the base, which is package management, changing commands and the rest. I'm sure most of you are bosses, like I said, that understand most of these things, but like I said, it's an introductory class. So yeah. So is there any question so far on what I've done before I close?
So we're trying to still, like myself, I'll speak for myself. I'm trying to understand. Maybe next time we meet, we might, or I'll drop a question in the Discord.
Yeah,
I'm trying to soak it
definitely.
all
I'll
in.
drop the tax. Let's say, yeah, definitely, I understand. Especially all those complex, all those all those extra ones that I wrote, but I understand. So, I don't know. The whole class is quiet. But anyways, I understand what you're talking about, and we'll go through it. We would, yeah, so I'll drop the tax, let's say tomorrow. I'll drop the tax for the week if there's any. Then we can just do like a review. Everybody has any questions or anything. But the video should drop by tomorrow as well, because now I'm recording. Should drop by tomorrow so that once you go through it, you can play around, download Vagrant. I will drop the link to the Vagrant, installation site. And download it, spin up your server, play around with it, screenshot that blue part in the video and just play around with all the commands, because it's very important, basically. You cannot run anything basically moving forward without proper understanding of Linux commands. Now, next, after networking, we'll go into shell scripts, and then you consolidate all your knowledge that you have done so far. So yeah, does anyone still have any question?
Yeah, I think I do, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to an extent I understand, but I think we have to go and read personally on it and understand, do my own research on Linux. But I want to ask,
Yeah,
the networking, is it networking on Linux or is it just general networking?
it's general networking.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
It's general networking. It's one, like I said, it's fundamental. Everything I'm teaching in DevOps is fundamental. That's why it's DevOps beginners. It's not DevOps intermediate. You get it's when we're like, you know, we're just talking about concepts, general concepts, basically. So anything we're doing here, you should understand, is fundamental. Learn networking in general, key concepts, basically. I'll still touch on networking on Linux, for the purpose of the class and the rest, but the base, which I'm trying to make it clear, is fundamental knowledge. You get. That's what this program is about. Fundamental, building on the fundamentals. You understand? Do you understand? Person that asked me the question.
Yes, yes, I do, sir. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So is there any more question? Okay, maybe.